Certainly from Toronto Hydro's perspective, we think that conservation is the first principle, and we should be focusing on making sure that people are conserving the most they can, and that our homes and businesses are run as efficiently as possible. And we would like to see the money spent there first and foremost.
We're at a $45 billion proposal to build nukes. If you take that $45 billion and divide it into three $15 billion pieces, one of them for industry, one for homeowners, and one for commercial and institutional, $15 billion is enough to put $3,000 every single household in Ontario. Now imagine what you could do with your house or apartment with $3,000.
What would you do?
You could have a new fridge, you could replace an old air conditioner, you could have new insulation, you could have all new windows. A lot of things you could do to reduce your energy. You could replace electric heat with a more efficient heat.
Would that do a better job at reducing greenhouse gas emissions than building nuclear power plants?
Absolutely, absolutely. Studies in all jurisdictions, California, for example, and other states and other countries have shown that you get 3 times as much reductions for a dollar as you get in production. So if you spend $15 billion on conservation and efficiency, you get as much as $45 billion spent on generation.
Okay, let me get Lori.
And that still leaves $15 billion for industry and $15 billion for our hospitals, our schools, and our malls.
If we were in fact to change our codes so that all appliances and other equipment were at the highest possible efficiency rating, which is not the case, not even close to the case now, then we would see a sea shift happen. I mean, as Jose alluded to, we are very wasteful in Canada in terms of our energy consumption. We're still wasteful. Despite the incentives and investments that have been made in Ontario thus far, we're still very wasteful as a society, and we can do a lot more on the conservation front, and that's the cheapest form of electricity going.
We're building hospitals, big, beautiful hospitals in locations in this province. They're not energy efficient.
That's right.
Why are we investing hundreds of millions of dollars to build these, these great facilities and not making them energy efficient?
What's the answer to that?
Well, the answer is the source of the problem, because capital is allocated on one hand. You have this much money, build the best hospital you can. Oh, by the way, we'll pay you your heating bills for the next going forward 20 years out of this other account. So the people who are building hospitals says, well, we might as well put in another operating room or a little better something or rather in order to, because we don't pay the heating bills. Why should we save electricity?
A focus on conservation and efficiency at the core of energy policy is the wrong way to go about dealing with these issues.
Because?
Because if you actually want to be successful, the first thing you have to do, and this is something that Amory Lovins would say, or Ralph Torrey, people who've done a lot of work on energy, you have to dramatically cut the demand for power in the society as a whole. Efficiency and conservation have to be the core, the foundation. Everything gets built around that.
If you look at the historical record, we have become more efficient in using energy, and we've become more efficient in terms of greenhouse gases. We produce less greenhouse gas now per dollar of output globally and also nationally than we have done in the past. The trouble is it's never enough. So we get more efficient, but with that increase in efficiency, we increase the scale of activities to such an amount that it overwhelms the gain in efficiency.
When we built the power grid, and over time, over about 100 years, it was a system that was really designed passively. The customer was out there being served. The customer was really not an active part of the system. They were a recipient for power. There was very little coming back from the customer.
The time of use rates are really a mechanism to divide the work days into 3, and the prices vary according to the times. So there's an on-peak price, a shoulder price, and an off-peak price. So the off-peak is at night when most of us are sleeping, so the prices are lower. So the point is that the smart meter is the device that is able to divide that day into 3 and provide that information to the consumer.
The point of time of use pricing with smart meters is that the cost of generation varies enormously from the peak and the off-peak, and the idea of time of use pricing is to transmit that information about the cost of generation to the consumer. And right now, we're not fully doing that. The off-peak price is not as low as the cost of generation in the middle of the night, and the peak price is not as high on average as the cost of generation during the peak time. So I agree. I think we need a larger difference, and people respond to substantial impacts. If the difference is very small, it's not worth bothering about.
So what do you have to do? Do you have to triple or quadruple the price in peak time?
I don't have a target, but I think triple would. I'd be happy to go that far.